So we had some predictions come true from last week. I think we're getting pretty good at that. So week 19.
Week 19.
Here we go.
We're up to episode 95.
Mm-hmm.
We'll hit 100 next week. I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm. So where did we start?
What you want to go with the predictions we got right, or do that after?
Yeah, we'll just go over everything, and then if you watched last week, you'll know what predictions we got right.
Mm-hmm. So, where do we start?
Well, Victoria going to Bangor.
Mm-hmm.
So she was going to take the train or the bus. The bus.
She asked Elizabeth for a few days off to, I guess, just get over the fact that she was almost murdered by David.
Well, they wouldn't say it quite like that, but
that's how I say it.
So Carolyn drove her in to wait for the bus, and while they were sitting in the restaurant at the hotel, Burke came in and offered her a ride to Bangor because he was going there anyway. So you know how Carolyn felt about that situation. She was very excited that they were going to have that little trip together.
Yep.
No, she was very unhappy.
Mm-hmm. Not just that she lost out on her date with Burke, but that Victoria stole it from her. Yes. Even though Victoria wasn't going on a date with him, but Carolyn is time with Burke. And so
of course.
She still has a thing for him.
After all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So then we met some new characters this week.
Yeah, so she got to, Burke dropped her off. On the way there, he tried to talk her out of staying at Collinwood and told her to get out of there again because he's going to be doing, hopefully, some bad things, at least financially, to the Collins family. So he wants to protect her from that. So he reiterated that whole thing again on the way.
She isn't going anywhere.
And then he dropped her off, and she went to Garner and Garner.
Garner and Garner. So she met Senior Garner. Senior
Frank Garner.
The senior. Wait, the senior first. Is he?
Or Richard. Sorry,
Richard Garner. Father, and Richard was just like, this looks like an old pay list or whatever.
Yeah, the ledger that she...
Yeah, like a ledger, and this was all the people who used to work there. Maybe it was a few extra people from like a big event or something, and so B. Hanscom was their butler, right?
Yes.
Was the butler. So
Butler did it.
Yes.
We figured it out. We solved the mystery. The butler...
We don't have to watch anymore.
No.
We did all the things. So he was just like, yeah, this is just nowhere. There's no sense looking into it. And then... Hunky Frank.
Yes, his son, who's his business partner.
Well, and she was like, "Oh, he's young; he wouldn't know anything." But he's really determined to look things up for her. He's gonna like scour all of their everything.
He has a crush on her.
What? No.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. He likes Victoria.
Yeah. So they ended up having a few meals together.
Mm-hmm.
One was supposed to be with Burke, grilled cheese sandwich, but
yeah,
Burke took off as soon as Frank got there. So Frank got to.
I think it was Burke's revenge for the time that Vicki stiffed him with 2 lobster dinners, so this time he stiffed her with 2 grilled cheese dinners, but fortunately for her, Frank was there to eat the other sandwich.
So they just kind of chatted about the situation and how he could look up things for her, and it would take a while, and so she spent a few days there, I think. And whilst they were there, Carolyn called up good old Joe.
Yeah.
Because she was all mad. Oh, did she like say something? Oh, to Elizabeth. She like told basically on Victoria. Oh, she went with Burke and all this stuff.
Okay, well, you were going to hang out with Burke.
So she ended up going to the Blue Whale with Joe, and Maggie and Sam ended up there.
I was disappointed that Joe even went with her, took the call, but he did, and they went on a date.
Maggie looked so sad when they were there together, and then they kept like going to dance so that they could kind of fight a little bit.
Well, because Carolyn was being all like super nice to Maggie and super friendly, and he kind of told her like, I've known you since we were kids, and I know when you're pretending to be happy, and that's what you're doing right now. And
then she let it slip that Victoria was with Burke, and Joe put together that that's the only reason why she called him, and so he was none too happy about that.
Yep.
And so he ended up driving her home.
Yep, they left. He took her home and then came back to the Blue Whale.
Where Maggie was.
Maggie, did we see what happened?
I don't think so. No, because Maggie was trying to
They
get out of there
probably
when
ran
they
off and got married.
probably they have 3 children already.
Yep.
And a dog. So yeah, because Maggie was trying to get out of there when Joe and Carolyn were there, so she was trying to convince Sam to leave, and Sam was just like, one more drink, and anyway, after they left, he stayed for a few more, I guess, and so Maggie was still there when Joe got back, and I think they're a better match, but
100%.
time will tell what happens there.
Mm-hmm.
And then
anything else? Anything with Roger, David?
Yes, David drew a picture of what he thought the Molloy's ghost would be.
Mm-hmm. Based on Victoria's description, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from her journal, because he read her journal or her diary.
Oh, yeah. He's jealous that she met a ghost that he didn't meet.
Mm-hmm. He hopes that it'll come back because she's decided to stay.
Yes. And Victoria told Frank about the ghost, and he didn't believe her.
He thinks that she just dreamt it.
Yeah, and so he tried to give all these explanations for what it was and why it wasn't a ghost, and she just didn't believe him.
She finally mentioned the water and the seaweed near the end of that conversation, but then he said, like, did you see it when you went back up there? And she said no, because Roger and Elizabeth had cleaned it up. So. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Maybe she's going to be doubting herself. I don't know. Well, she's a bit freaked out now to doubt her. She's got too much on her mind because...
Right. She was getting ready to leave. Burke was going back, so he offered her a ride back as well.
Even though Frank was, take the bus. Even though Frank was disappointed.
He was very disappointed that he didn't get to take her
home. So Burke stepped out for a minute, and so she was left with his... money guy. What is that guy's name? Blair. The money guy. No, it's the lawyer. I don't know what he is. Yep. Financial guy. And noticed that he had a pen that was the same as the one that she found at Lookout Point. And so she kind of examined it and told him that, oh, no, it isn't, because she didn't want to let on.
Well, he explained that there were only 6 of them in existence. 4 of them were in Argentina. 1 was Burke's and 1 was Blair's. Mm-hmm. And so... that if she found one, then it's impossible. It couldn't have been.
Yeah, it had to be Burke's.
She's like, no, it's exactly the same. And then when she realized that it must have been Burke's, then she pretended that no, it wasn't that one.
She didn't want to, give anything up that she knows that maybe, or she thinks that maybe Burke killed Molloy.
Yeah. So she wasn't too happy about getting a ride home with him.
Right. She called Frank first.
Tried calling Frank. Yeah.
He was not there.
No.
So
because he just left. He's probably on the way.
Yeah. So she called Roger, the very worst person that she could have called for this, and told them about the pen, and he was like, "Oh, just make an excuse, and I will come and get you."
Yeah,
and
don't mention the pen.
Don't mention the pen. Never mention the pen.
It's gonna come out eventually. There's no way he can just cover this up forever, especially after that. So
she kind of made some flimsy excuse about wanting to stay longer, just to. See some
was
sights.
All confused. 10 seconds ago, you were rushing me out the door.
Yeah, you're packed and you have your stuff and you don't have a room anymore. And she's like, "Oh, I'll get my room back. I just want to see some things." And he was like, "Okay,
all right,
all right, weirdo."
Is that it?
I think that's it.
What predictions came true?
I predicted the pen would come back up
into play.
I don't remember the other ones I predicted too. Why do we always forget?
I think you said there would be a fight with Carolyn.
Oh, yes, there'd be more drama with
Carolyn
and Joe. And that... Something else. You guys have to watch and then you'll see. Mm-hmm. You'll see that we were right about everything. About a few things.
It's less weird. So predictions for next week.
That Roger is gonna, I don't know what. He's gonna be so weird on the ride home, I think.
Yeah.
Like super weird. He's gonna continue to say, "Don't talk about the pen," and he's gonna try and push her to think that it was Burke.
And then how's that gonna play out? Are they just gonna drop it again? And
they seem to drop a lot of things.
They do, and then bring them up way later. But is that gonna be something that's gonna keep going and then she'll eventually figure out what's going on, or is that just going to kind of get put on the back burner while we move on to...
I don't know, I made my prediction.
Who knows? Okay. Find out next week.
Yes, we will. Bye.